Hey everyone, how's it going? God Gamer here. Today I'm going to be taking on the toughest Hollow Knight challenge yet, which is reading 0-star reviews of my favorite game. So I love Hollow Knight, but I also understand it's not a game for everyone. So if you don't like the game, that's totally fine. But if you give a game a 0-star review because you're salty that you got stuck at Gruzmother, then we've got a bit of a problem. It really is a common theme with these reviews that people are just upset that they got stuck. But you gotta understand, not every game is for everyone, right? Anyway, let's just get right into this. Uninstalled after 30 minutes. I passed first boss and went to second area. I like to explore in games, and I went to places that seemed hard to reach, expecting some reward. Instead of that, I got broken gameplay, unable to leave that area, uninstalled. So this person actually went through Green Path, and I suspect they went down through Fog Canyon, gave all their money to Millabelle, and then got trapped in Queen Station. Bro, it's not that hard to get out. You just have to get past some jellyfish on your way up. The jellyfish aren't some impassable wall. You can just, jump around them. There's a lot to be said for Hollow Knight in terms of design, but I found the boss fights too hard, and there's no way to dumb it down. So if you're not a hyperactive youngster, look out. Bro, I'm 32. The game makes you trounce back through 5+ screens of enemies just to try the boss again, which is extremely hard. It's a garbage experience except for extreme fans of this type of gameplay. Avoid it. Dude, there are very few instances where you have to go through 5+ screens of enemies to get back to the boss. One of the main examples of this is Soulmaster, where they literally placed a shortcut to the boss in every single room leading up to it. Literally every single one. Game too hard and atmosphere too shallow to keep my interest. Nothing about the game's theme, story, atmosphere, or setting inspires me to keep playing. Even when I constantly die, the save point is often far, far away from the area I'm stuck on. I end up getting stuck in one area too often. The game mechanics are too stiff to allow any room for improving. The game will punish you even for existing or being around. Dull, forgettable soundtrack. Graphics are an eyesore. The most enjoyable part was uninstalling the game. So this is one of those reviews that falls into the category where they admit that the reason why they hate the game is because they suck at it. But just because you suck at a game doesn't mean that everything about the game is bad. And what does punishing them for just existing even mean? Did this person accidentally install the Nightmare Spikes mod and just constantly die to it? And the game mechanics are too stiff to allow for room for improvement? Well, what the fuck have I been doing for the past 5 years of my life? I'm so tired of respawning enemies. This game is full of respawning enemies. Yeah, I agree. Great point. The game would be much better if it were just completely empty after you killed the enemies. Map is awful. For the first 1+ hour of the game, you just run around aimlessly. And actually, it doesn't get that much better. There are no real objectives or objective markers. You kind of just wander around a massive maze. The whole game is incredibly maze-like, and there's so much backtracking through areas you've already been in. Well, congrats on describing a Metroidvania, you dummy. There's a bug where it sometimes doesn't register a jump when you're near an edge. That's called mistiming your input. There are poor things, like your basic attack pushing you backwards, so if you ever attack someone when you're near an edge, you fall off and frequently die, or have to trek back up a long path. If it's happening so often, try learning not to do it. If mods for invincibility weren't available, I'd have uninstalled early on. It would be a total waste of time doing the same monotonous things over and over. I just tried to get it over with as quickly as possible. If you're using invincibility, it's no fucking wonder why you didn't enjoy the game. Some games just aren't for everyone, but that doesn't mean you need to give the game a bad review. It means you need to get a clue about what you fucking like. Platform was meh. Graphic rigid and uninteresting. There are way better Metroidvania out there. This is overhyped. So in this case, I don't even know what the graphics being rigid even means. There's particle effects when you do basically anything in Hollow Knight. The game is kind of like 3D shifted into a 2D perspective, and there's foreground objects like grass that react when you move past them. The graphics are objectively not rigid. It seems like this person was fishing for a reason to give this game a 0-star review, but if you can't even come up with a coherent reason why to give a game a 0-star review, why the fuck are you doing it in the first place? Absolutely atrocious. Unplayable beyond any reasonable measure. Not a finished game by any stretch of the imagination. Buggy, terribly optimized, horribly designed. A void like the plague. You have to wonder what led this person to even say these things. The game is obviously finished, and if the game's unplayable, again, what the fuck have I been doing for these past 5 years? Also, you missed a pretty easy opportunity for a pun at the end. What the fuck are you doing? This is another one of those reviews where the writer was simply not good enough to play a game that relies solely on skill. This game is absolute shit. I'm not a casual player, and this game feels disgusting because it's way more unfair than Ninja Gaiden games. Also, controls, mechanics, backtracking, and the map made me waste a lot of time. 22 hours to beat Hornet. Requires a lot of patience, which is abused by its creators multiple times throughout the game. Not recommended unless you want to waste 60 plus hours on a 5-hour game. Just because a game can be speedrun in 5 hours doesn't mean it's a 5-hour game, you dingus. I don't like it. Tick-ticks are cool though. Bad game. I don't like the graphics. Bad progression. Confusing. Bad game. I am also confused. The first few hours of playing this game, I absolutely loathed it. I actually quit out at one point to refund it, only to see I played 2.5 hours and was already past the point of no return. There are a lot of game design sins at play here. Enemies with way too much health, bosses with 3 times as much health as they should have, you getting knocked back every time you attack, which, other than making aerial combat impossible, also removes all positive game feel from combat completely by making you feel like a wet blanket. People who give Hollow Knight 1-star reviews are wet blankets. That's how you'd use that phrase. Constant maze-like backtracking in just the first few areas, and the map system is terrible, and tons of I wanna be the guy spike mazes. And these are just the things I hated about it in the first few hours. Where are you finding these spike mazes? Does Brooding Moloch's entrance count as an I wanna be the guy spike maze? Do you even know what I wanna be the guy is? The platforming anytime with the vines can go fuck itself. What game did this person play? Donkey Kong? I don't get it. The game is pretty, sure, and I'll admit Metroidvanias might not be my favorite genre, but I thoroughly enjoyed, for instance, Ori and the Blind Forest, which seems to have similar critical acclaim and the same focus on visuals and ambience. But while Ori also focuses on gameplay and story, Hollow Knight seems to go out of its way to completely ignore them. So you heard it here first, Mossbag. Hollow Knight has no story. It's time for you to delete your YouTube. It also has no gameplay either. It's basically just like a walking simulator, so I totally get where this guy's coming from. I'm salty and bad at the game, but damn, is the story and shit good? What? For your sanity, I don't recommend, but yeah, get it. Well, at least someone's being honest with themselves. I'm at the point where it seems like there's nowhere to go, and every game session becomes me just exploring and backtracking to find what I missed so I can progress. This is now the 3rd time I've reached one of these points, and it just takes so long to get around that I absolutely dread opening the game now. There's one dreamer to go. If there's only one dreamer to go, then you have all the required items to get that dreamer. There's no configuration of abilities that you can have that would allow you to get two, but not the final dreamer. And it's literally on your map because you picked up the dream nail. So what the fuck are you talking about? Ideally, you could bring up the map with an item or ability selected, and it would highlight areas on the map that the item can get you past. A casual gamer feature, sure, but you could justify it in lore that this guy you're controlling has a great memory. Yes, the vessel actually has an excellent memory. No mind to think, but it can remember the entirety of Hollow Nest. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here, but thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to let me know, and maybe we can do more of these in the future. But that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.